me know when you see the live screen so that I can start.
Okay.
Are we live yet? Okay. Right. Okay. Good morning, all the participants for the webinar. We welcome our speaker for today's morning session, Mr. B.S. Acharya, Joint Director FSSAI, and he'll be enlightening us about food safety issues in India. Sir, we are glad to have you, and we welcome you for the same.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Good morning, all. You see, the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, it was established by the Act of a Parliament. The bill, Food Safety Standard Bill, was piloted by the Ministry of Food Processing Industries sometimes in 2006, and in September 2006 it was approved by the Parliament. Then in the year 2008, the Food Safety Standard Authority was established, which is an apex regulatory authority in this country to see, to ensure and to enforce the food products for and to prevent the to redress the consumers about the products about the standardized products and the safe product to be made available to the consumers. Now, from after the authority was established in the year 2008, it took around 3 years to take it safe. Then from 2011, the authority started functioning by way of enacting different types of regulations. The first regulation was made, that is food safety standards, food product licensing and registration regulations, 2011. Then food safety standard rules. Then similarly there is food safety standard labeling and packaging regulation that was also implemented in 2011. So similarly, so many regulation was started and notified by the government. Then from 5th August 2011, the food safety started functioning through the online mode. Our entire work is through online system. You see, we started from 5th August 2011, licensing and regulations. That is entire country, all the food industries, whether it is a small or large scale, they started getting the license from this Food Safety Standard Authority of India through the online mode. Now, why? Now, before coming to this, I just wanted to tell why the Food Safety Standard Act came to this country. You see, previous to Food Safety Standard Act, there are the different acts and order prevailing in this country by central government and implemented by the state government. For an example, there was a Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. Everybody knows that. There is food product orders was there, meat food product order was there, milk food product order was there. There are so many orders, and the act was prevailing and implemented by the different government, different department of the state and the central. Now, in order to merge all the department, a single line of command, the Food Safety Standard Authority was created. Now, what are the silent features of this act? Now, the basic silent feature of the act, effective and transparent accountable regulatory framework, means the entire country we had made a total transparent online systems in every aspect, not only the licensing. There is food product standards, that is also online. We have made Infolnet, food product laboratory network, uh, information in order to assimilate the information to all the stakeholders. that is also online, because our entire systems is online. Then emphasis on gradual shift from regulatory regime to self-compliance. Now we are working still after completion of 10 to 12 years of Food Safety Standard Authority of India. We are still trying and to make that the instead of regulating, let the industries to have self-reliance. They should be implementing all the standards, all the parameters, hygiene, safety, everything they have to do it by their own self. So that's why we are working on it. Consistency between domestic and international food policies, because you might all you people are knowing about that codex alimentarius commissions. So this is an international body, and all the countries follow the codex. And as in India, Food Safety Standard Authority of India is a national codex center, and we are whatever the standards we are making at our head office, entire standard is aligned with the codex standards. Then adequate information dissemination of the food to enable consumer to make informed choices. So for that we have made lot of regulations like food product labeling regulation, food product standards, advertisement claim regulations. So in that we have made that what type of uh, claim the industries can make, which will be informed to the consumers. Then mechanism of the speedy disposal of the legal cases, because as you know India, uh, previously under the PFA regime, even today there are the cases continuing about, running for last 25 years. And last couple of years back we have issued and guidelines that all the cases prevailing in this country under the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act is closed. And some state like Gujarat state, they have taken very good initiative, and all the PFA cases have been closed in Gujarat. The new cases started as per the Food Safety Standard Act. Now, what is the new provisions under this act? Regulation of food imported in this country. Right from August 2011, the imported food products are covered under FSSAI, and for that we have different regional offices like Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Guwahati, Cochin, uh, then even Kandla port, and all the ports, seaport, airport, we have got offices through our own office or through our custom department. We are controlling all the food item that has been imported from different countries to India. It passes through a import regulations, and under that system called FICS, Food Import Clearance System. Now, there is a provisions we have made under this new act, provision of food recall system, and we have made a food recall regulation also. And under these regulations we are advising, even we are requesting all the industries, manufacturer as well as importer, while taking the license they should provide what is the recall team member, who are the recall team member with their contact details, and what is their recall policy or plan. Based on that policy and plan, if anything happened after the laboratory analysis report, then we recall the consignment. That is the basic purpose. And we have got a very good surveillance system, surveillance of food products. That means recently, you people must be aware of that we have conducted lot of surveillance activities uh, about salt, about milk, about honey, about glucose, that is rice syrup, which has been used recently. Rice syrup is being used, called rice syrup and maize syrup, all the syrup that has been used in making the honey, which is considered an adulterant. That's why we have made lot of surveillance activity during the recent past. Now we have a new enforcement structure. Enforcement structure, it is two-tier system. One is central, then one is another is state. Because under the enforcement activities, the state government through their food safety commissioners and designated officer and food safety officer, these are the three different posts under the different state government. They used to enforce the particular food safety standard act and issue the license. Similarly, there is a provision under central licensing system. So under the central licensing systems, FSSAI through its regional offices in Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, Madras, and Guwahati. So all the five places we have a central licensing regional offices, and through that regional offices we issue central license, and that is also enter online systems. Now under this act, we have envisages large network of food lab, and large network of food lab means under the state government there are different public laboratories, and under central government we call it as national food lab. We have two national food lab, that is one is at Ghaziabad and second one is at Calcutta. So that is the referral food lab, means any food products which was drawn by the food safety officers, it was sent to public health laboratory. The second sample, if it failed, the second, and at the request of the FBO, the second sample has to be sent to referral laboratory, and the analysis report of the referral laboratory is the final. Based on the confirmation or non-confirmation of the lab report, the designated officer of the concerned district, they used to issue the, they used to educate the case. Then apart from these two government laboratories, two types of government laboratories, we have authorized and we have approved various private laboratory in this country. So all total around 400, uh, it will be around 400 of laboratory are there, and they are functioning, they are analyzing all the imported as well as the indigenous food products throughout the country. Now we have another new justice dispensation system for fast track disposal of cases. That is, under this new Food Safety Standard Act, what has happened? Now I'll just give an example. During the PFA regime, the cases were continued, and it goes up to 20 years, 25 years, and it does not solve the purpose. Now, under this new Food Safety Standard Act, what we have made, there is two types of things. One is unsafe food, one is substandard foods. And depending on the gravity of the offenses, suppose the offense, we have categorized different offenses into different categories. Depending on the gravity of the offenses, we have introduced the fine structure. Initially, we have introduced the fine structure and fines associated with imprisonment. There are different sections are there under the justice dispensation system, and under that sections we are just grading the penalties depending on the offenses, so that the minor penalties and major penalties will be involved. Then second thing is harmonization of domestic standards with international food standard, that I told you through the codex. Now these are the building blocks. Entire Food Safety Standard Authority of India is a science-based organization. So under that organization, we have different divisions. Means one is food, that is standard divisions. One is regular compliance divisions. So under the standard divisions, Food Safety Standard Authority of India has so far made 1,000 odd food products under standards. Means all the 1,000 odd food products has been standardized. Then effective food regulations and integrated food quality testing for risk-based surveillance. Now we have categorized different food products into risk-based. Means, for an example, meat is a very risk-based food product. So meat and milk, prepared foods, these are considered as risk based. Means we are putting more emphasis on inspections and enforcement of this particular risk based food product, so that this can be regulated in a better way through our enforcement structures. Then we, apart from that, we have different types of other activities. Means uh, that I'll go through the slides. Uh, Coming to these, you see there are different types of regulation that I was talking. FSSAI drafted and notified through extensive consultation and deliberations, meeting with various stakeholders, and the following regulations are gazetted and notified. That I food safety standard licensing and registration regulations and amendment thereof, and subsequently these regulations has been amendment in various occasions depending on the requirements felt by the different stakeholders. Food Safety and Standard Packaging and Labeling Regulation 2011 and amendment thereof. We are continuously amending these regulations as per the need. Now, Food Safety Standard, Food Product Standard, and Food Additive Regulation and the amendment thereof. Now, under these food additive regulations, I just wanted to tell my um, participants. You see what happens in India before the FSSAI, there were only 470 food products which has been standardized under the PFA. Now we have made another 500 odd numbers during this last 10 years time, and we have made an horizontal standard of food additives. And under the horizontal standard of food additives, under these regulations, additive regulations, what we have done is the entire food products like meat, fish, poultry, general food product like bread, biscuits, uh, like this substance added to food, uh, all the food products are categorized into different category, and that category starts from 1 to 16, and 16 is the last prepared food category. Now under this category there are the standardized foods which has already been standardized, and there are the proprietary foods. Proprietary foods means the food which does not have any laid down notified standards. So for proprietary food and standardized food means it has been mentioned that what additives is permitted and how much limit is permitted, that has been written in the specific standards. But for the proprietary food there is no mention about the limits. So in order to make all the food products under, that is the food additives, we will qualify to which category and how much limit as prescribed, that has been mentioned under the food additives regulation 2011 under different tables. And in the tables you see different additives are permitted to under GMP level. GMP means good manufacturing practice level, or maximum with the limits that it should not beyond these limits. Uh, then coming to food safety standard provision and restriction of sale regulations, that is also very important because certain products are restricted in this country for sale. For an example, nobody can sell honey, admixture of honey with any other things. So honey should be sold in a very pure form. Another example I can give you, say oils. Oil should be in the pure form like mustard oil, refined sunflower oil. But if somebody wants to blend the oil, so there is a restriction that blending of oil is permitted only under two conditions, that two vegetable oil. Two vegetable oil can be permitted to blend in the ratio of 20 is to 80. So it should not be below 20 and it should not be above 80. So in that ratio, and they have to declare the entire quantity of the oil, percentage of oil they have added in the product in their manufacturing labels. Then food safety standard, contaminant and toxin residues regulations, how much toxin, how much residues, pesticides residues are allowed and to what extent. So that has been mentioned under this regulation. Then food safety standard referral laboratory and sampling regulation, that has been standardized, and there is a guidelines of sampling, how to do the sampling and how to draw the sample and send it to the laboratory, and how the laboratory will analyze, how much time they will take to submit the report so that the designated officer or food safety officer will take appropriate decisions. Then food safety standard, food and health supplement, nutraceutical, foods for special dietary use, foods for special medical purposes, functional foods, and novel foods. So what is novel foods? Novel foods is the foods which is the first time has been invented in this country with the proven or new technology, and its consumption patterns has not been known in the history of uh, in the history of the Indian culture. So that's called novel foods. So all these food safety, health, nutraceutical, special dietary use, that regulation has been notified by us, so that all the food supplement, health supplement, and nutraceutical, and foods for medical purposes, and foods for special dietary use, and novel foods, these are all uh, brought to the ambit of the Food Safety Standard Authority of India. And for novel foods or any botanical extract, plant extracts, which has not been mentioned under those ingredients which has not been mentioned under these regulations, the FBO, the food business operator, has to apply to the authority for its approval. Without approval, the non-standard ingredient cannot be permitted. Now, coming to food safety standard, food recall procedure, that has also been notified, and food safety import regulations. So, like, there are different regulations, because Food Safety Standard Authority of India run through the notified regulation. They cannot do by its own, and it has to go through the process of regulations. Now, coming to what is food safety. Now, before food safety, I just wanted to tell what is food. Food is any substances which we consume through our mouth. Now, this is a general, but question is everything under the definition of the food as per Food Safety Standard Act, except psychotropics and drugs. All other things are covered under the food, including water, including alcohol. Alcoholic beverages. Now, what is food safety? Means it is the assurance that the food is acceptable for human consumption according to its intended use. So, this according to its intended use very important, because whatever the formulation, standardizations, or preparations is done by the manufacturer, every food products, once they manufacture, they has to pack in the packets or in the packaging forms, but it is meant for its customer or consumer through its intended use. So, food safety means it is the assurance. And who will give the assurance? The assurance has to be given by the manufacturer. And what is the role of FSSI? The role of FSSI is to ensure that the product manufactured at the manufacturing locations or the plants, and it reaches to the consumers through different channels. And our role is to regulate whether the work done by the FBO are correct, in the correct perspective, or not. Now, what is the standard in relation? In relation, standard means it is in relations to an article of food. Means the standards notified by the Food Safety Standard Authority of India. Now, before going to this, I just wanted to give some other inputs. How we are doing it? Say, the manufacturer, they manufacture the products, so he has to have a manufacturing license. Now, the manufacturing license will be issued by the central government or the state government. Now, if it is a central government, we have categorized the criteria, the eligibility criteria of the both the central license and the state license. So the basic eligibility criteria for production units, that is the capacity of manufacturer, that is the installed capacity. So we have prescribed, if anybody, any manufacturer manufacturing product, say general products like bread, biscuits, fruit juices, if it is 2 metric ton per, more than 2 metric ton per day, then it will automatically, the systems will automatically pick up to go to central license. If it is below 2 metric ton per day, then it will go to state license. And there is another registrations. So registration means petty food business operators. Petty food business operator means they are all traders or small halwai or manufacturer, those who are manufacturing small, those whose turnover is not more than 12 lakhs per annum. So these are the criteria. So based on these criteria, we have registrations. The registration fees for the license is 100 rupees per annum, and for the state license, that is for above 100 kilo up to 2 metric ton, it comes under manufacturing category of state license. So under this license, there are different types of fees, that is 2000 and 3000, and sometimes it goes up to 5,000 depending on the type. Then above 2 metric ton per day, it goes to 7,500 fees. That is for central license. And for the central license, 7,500 is the common fees that has been prescribed right from 2011. Now, again, for the milk industries, there is different install capacities. For slaughterhouses, meat processing unit, that is also different install capacity. So based on the install capacity and turnover, the different category of food business are been categorized, and based on these categories, where any FBO filing the application, he has to fill the data in the online systems, how much production he's doing it, or how much sales. Sales means it is turnover based, how much sales he is doing it. Based on that, the systems will pick up whether it will go for central license, whether it will go for state license, whether it will go for registration. So like this, we have made a very simple systems, and based on that systems, we are issuing license to these FBOs throughout the country. Now, coming to the progress made by FSSI for last so many years. So we have almost completed 12 years of our journey. So under this 12 year of journey, FSSI, apart from the regulatory framework, apart from the licensing and enforcement activities that we are doing it, we have made the remarkable achievement in terms of other initiatives. Say, for an example, we have introduced a Infolnet, Infolnet. That is the network of laboratories connected to a centralized systems through laboratory management system, that is LMS. Means the entire that I told the laboratories in this country, whether it is a public health laboratory or run by the state governments, or it is a central national food laboratory run by FSSAI, or the NABL accredited, FSSI approved or authorized laboratory in this country, they are all private laboratories. They are also integrated through our Infolnet system, so that the basic purpose is that we wanted to build the compliance history of the Indian food products. So the basic purpose is, suppose in Tamil Nadu, one FSO draw a sample and it's sent to the Public Health Laboratory of Madras, then whatever the report Madras Public Health Laboratory gives, it will be uploaded in the Infolnet systems. Similarly, anybody can see that particular reports. So that is the basic purpose. Say, for an example, the compliance history we have to build up. Why? What is the need of that compliance history? So what we feel that in the entire globe, the risks of the food product, the safety of the food product comes from the risk and the degree of the risks associated with the food. That means there are three types of risks. One is biological, one is physical, then one is chemical. Chemical means toxics, or antibiotics, or pesticides, or metal contaminants. Then biological means germs, microorganisms. Then physical means that is the presence of iron. Say in case of dull, there is a stone pieces. So these are called physical uh, risk. So now the safety and the associated risks can be assessed through a assessment technique. Now that, so for assessing the risks of a particular product, now we have to analyze. There is statistical analysis, but for any analysis you need a data, and we do not have the data. So that is the reasons through the Infolnet systems we wanted to create a database of individual FBO. For an example, Nestle Maggi. Now the Nestle Maggi, they have got different plants in the country, around 5-6 Nestle plants is there. Now those plants, they are manufacturing and selling the product in Indian markets. Now our entire country, we are drawing the samples through our food safety officer from different village in the urban pockets. Now those sample with the batch number, code number, and all other details, with the FSSA license number, it will go to the laboratory, and from there the analytical report will come and it will be uploaded in the Infonet systems. So like this, in the entire country, if we draw the sample of a particular Maggi noodles, and for about 1,000 sample we have drawn in a year, then the 1,000 report will be uploaded in the systems. From there, we can find out of 1,000 how many are conforming to the standards and how many fail to conform to the specific standard, or what are the reasons. So like this, we can able to create a database of the history of the FBO. As a result of which, we can find out the risks associated with this. And that's why I told you that we are doing a lot of surveillance activities. Through the surveillance activities, we are trying to find out the different standards, and we are fixing the standards of the product by carrying out the surveillance activities. Now, coming to another aspect, FSSI introduced FSKN, Food Safety Knowledge Assimilation Network. This is a very interesting work done by our previous CEO FSSI, Sri Pawan Kumar Agarwal, and he had a vision that time. He had a vision to assimilate the knowledge. So that's why we are building a network of organizations. We are inviting the institution, the public institution, the food industries, the association, food industries association, and through this platform, we want to exchange the expertise and the best practices followed in this country for the safety of the food product, and also the sharing the information in the national and the international level. Now, coming to this, FSSI introduced the concept of safe food and share food. My dear friends, you might be knowing, if you are going to visit any restaurants, particularly as you say, as I have some certain experience in your state also, Gujarat. If you'll go there, they will have a big thali, where lot of foods they will be providing to you, but you cannot eat those foods, and it's all spoilage. So, like this in the country, through our NGO, we are trying to we have brought a system of safe food and share food. Through, by this initiative, we can bring together all the stakeholders of this community to prevent food loss and wasted throughout the food supply chain. That's why that concept, and I think Gujarat is the number one in this field. In every restaurant, if you visit Gujarat, you'll find there is a very signboard that don't waste the food, and there are mobile number also there, that to whom you have to contact, so it can be collected and it will be supplied to the needy in different forms. So that is a new initiative we have started a year back. Then there is another initiative called FOSTA, that is Food Safety Training and Certification System. Now, under our food safety standard licensing and registration regulations, there is a Schedule 4. Now, let me tell you what is Schedule 4. Schedule 4 basically is a FSMS food safety management system. Now, under that food schedule 4, we have made different types of business. Say meat industries, what type of requirements are there for milk processing units, what type of the hygiene and sanitation practice like GMP and GHP they have to follow. So these are all written down documents. So under that regulation, there is a mandatory provisions we have made. Every food business operator or FBO, if they are manufacturing any products under any types of license or registrations, the workers employed by them has to have undergone mandatory training certifications program about the safety, not only food safety, other safety. And under these regulations, we are mandatorily asking the FBOs that you have to submit what is your plan, training plan for the next years, and in what aspects, on what subject you have to train to your workers. So, right off, right now, here I'm just giving you one latest data. We have a total of have introduced Eat Right India. Under the Eat Right, and that is a continued efforts we are making. Our chairman every month he is making visit to the different state government only to ensure that the progress we are making in the Eat Right and other aspects are followed. So under the Eat Right, there are two concepts. One is eat healthy and eat safe. So almost in the entire world, people know take less sugar, less salt. So in order to bring different types of hotel, different categories of hotels, like 5 star, 7 star hotel, 4 star hotel, and 3 star hotels. So we have also categorized different types of hotel, and under the hotel we are we have made them hygiene rating. They have to declare their hygiene through our agencies. Now there is another system called RUCO, reused cooking oil. So you might be knowing, everybody knows that in the entire country people used different vegetable oil for frying purposes, and they used to repeatedly use the same oil in cooking and frying, as a result of which the trans fat of the oil in that particular products becoming very high. And not only trans fat, other fatty substances, fatty acid substances are also there. Now in order to use these reused cooking oil, we have brought a system called RUCO. Under this, the reused cooking oil are collected through our NGOs and sent to making biodiesels. So this concept also we have started during these years. Now, coming to situation under the COVID. So this I described about the progress they made in FSCCI and what is the function of the FSCCI. Now coming to the situation, everybody know about the COVID that has been prevailed throughout the world. Now under these situations, our FSSA is functional during the entire day. Till today it is running. It is FSA is functional throughout the COVID. Now our food import clearance system, that is the imported foods brought from different countries, are also fully functional, and that is treated as essential service, that is considered as essential service. So our all the regional offices, they are working day and night for giving the clearance to the imported food items. Now we have issued various guidance documents for food handlers, enforcement officials. We are made available. Even yesterday, we had a very good meeting with our Bombay-based NGO partner, and teaching about the COVID and how to prevent, how to safeguard ourselves, and how to enforce to our enforcement official how they will to carry out their job during this COVID period. So like this, we are doing a lot of promotional activities. Now, during this COVID period, you see most of the licenses got expired during this period, and people could not able to do it renewal because their office is closed, the entire country is locked down. So by filling all these problems, now we have extended the renewal of licenses till 31st July. Similarly, food business operators are permitted to run their business based on the online application for license registration. Similarly, what steps we have taken during the COVID period? Now, suppose anybody wants to set up a new concern and he has applied for the license. Now, to issue the license, it may take time. So that's why we have allowed all the food business operator, if they are applying just by application, because once they are applying, the system generate one application reference number. So based on that reference number, they are allowed to run the business and nobody will stop them. Now, deadline for, again, there is under this system, we had a annual returns, because every FBO has to submit a annual production return or annual import returns. FBO means all the importer and the manufacturers. These two categories of FBO, they are supposed to submit annual production or import returns to FSSAI every year by end of 31st May, taking into account of the work done during the financial year April to March. So that has to be submitted by 31st May within a grace period of 2 months. Now, since the lockdown period is there, so we have extended the submission of annual return till 31st July. So now coming to what are the different types of best practices to be followed during the COVID by the food service. Food service means catering services, hotel, restaurants, or online services, online delivery. And under this COVID periods, we have issued so many licenses to the e-commerce FBO, because we have given importance to the e-commerce segment. Now here it's all talk about cleaning, hygiene, disinfections, and sanitizations. So what are the things like equipments, doors, floors, or working tables, knives? So what how we'll do it? What systems will follow? How hand washing has to be taken care of? Like food handler must use tongs, gloves, other utensils to prevent direct contact with the food. Do not leave any ready to eat food items open or in a glass display. Or in a glass display, it has to be put it in proper bin. Food handlers must wear clean uniform glove, mask, face cover, or head covers at all times. Now here, I just wanted to tell you, and I'm not hesitating to inform the in Indian food industries, majorities are MSME sectors, very small scale sector. What happens basically, the COVID has taught these food industries, it has got a good lesson, because during my 30 years of service to this particular sector, what I find, if you'll go inspecting any unit, now you will not find the workers will be wearing any apron, not even headwears or gloves, or even mouth mask. They will not be. What we used to do, we used to write in their reports that you have to provide apron, headwear, gloves, mouth mask. So every time we used to give, but our Indian, their habits, they don't want to do it, and every time they will have an excuse for that. Now, but the COVID situations compelled them to have it, and I'm happy for that. That this is done due to some, although it is bad, COVID is a very pandemic, but this has made them compulsory to do it in spite of our frequent instructions. So this is a must. Now, pre-screen food handler for symptoms of COVID. Individuals showing any symptoms should be sent to health facilities. So like this, there are different activities, different procedures we have adopted in this country and made it highlighted in our websites. Everything is available in our websites. Now, coming to common disinfectant. You see, most of the people should know what are the common disinfectants are used. One is chlorine, one is QMBA, quaternary methyl butyric acids, and 70% alcohol based. So these are frequently, it has been moving in the uh, WhatsApp, that what is the percentage of alcohol should be there in the hand sanitizer. So like this, so these are the one or two, three I have mentioned it, but there are so many chemicals are being available in this market. But But my sincere advice, before using these chemicals, better to see the direction of use and which chemicals, where it is used. It has been mentioned in every manufacturer label. Everybody has to see the label where it is used, like 70% alcohol base, that is hand sanitizations. Frequency, how frequently you have to use, age and when required. Chlorine for washing of fruit and vegetables. Generally, in the WhatsApp also, lot of there was a viral message how to, because in Delhi Mandi there are 14% got infected. Then how to, what are the criteria of cleaning the vegetables? So the best criteria is cleaning of vegetable can be done through chlorine. Nowadays chlorine tablets are available, but the residual chlorine in the product should not be more than 5 ppm. After washing the chlorine, you should have a double wash. Then coming to cleaning in food premises during COVID-19. You see, preparation. So preparation means removal of loose dirt from food particles. Rinse with warm or potable waters. Wash with hot water. What should be the temperature? It should be above 60 degree. And detergent. Rinse with clean and potable water. Then sanitizing. Treat with every hot above 75 degree centigrade. Clean potable water for at least 2 minutes. Then air drying. Leave benches, counter, equipment to air dry. The most hygienic way to dry the equipment is in a draining rack. So these are the simple methods. Cleaning and sanitation's requirement of food business operator. Clean various areas of food establishment, office space, transport vehicles with soap, water, followed by disinfection. Use hot water above 60 degree for washing and sanitizing equipment, container, utensil, and cutlery. Clean high touch points, namely elevator, bottoms, handles, public counters, twice daily by mopping with a cloth sock in 1% sodium hypochlorite solution. Now, the sodium hypochlorite solution, anybody can also be prepared the sodium hypochlorite solution. It is a very simple way. Take soda ash and bleaching powder. I'll just tell you, take soda ash, one part of soda ash and one part of bleaching powder. Put it in 2 parts of water and put it in overnight. Next day morning, you just siphon out the liquid. That itself is a sodium hypochlorite solution, and it is a best sanitizing disinfectant agents. Install hand sanitizer stations at at the entry and every where the human touch is there. You see, what is my experience is, in any bottling line or in any preparation table, you will find the worker, they used to sit where the individual, there is no space. There is no space. So they used to stand in a touching with each others. So this COVID, during the COVID situation, we have introduced the system when the government has made the 33% works, the work staff should not be more than 33%. So similarly, they have to work by creating the space between them. Then install, then come to clean toilet and washrooms after every shift using water and detergent. Because in industries where there is shift, in every shift they used to change, while changing over the shift, they used to wash, sanitize, clean the entire equipment floor. So now here they should put more emphasis and little bit more time, and new systems of cleaning and sanitation has to be followed by them in order to prevent COVID. Then coming to implement social distancing, and food business should, what they should do the, in order to implement the system of social distancing. Limit the number of people in contact with the food premises. Space out stagger workstations. They have to create the workstation and food preparation area and maintain a gap of at least 1 meter, preferably 2 meters, between the food handlers. Reduce the speed of production lines to reduce the number of employees working in it on it. Increase time between shift and scatter break period to minimize staff interactions, prohibit sharing of lockers by the employees. Even sharing of the lockers that has to be prohibited. For food deliveries through the e-commerce FBO, leave food packets outside the door or maintain a gap of at least 2 meter, 1 meter, or preferably 2 meter from the customers. Restricts face-to-face meeting so much possible and encourage employees to work from home. So this is the basic guidelines that we have prescribed in order to safeguard or prevent the COVID for the food industries. And personal hygiene and personal hygiene. You see, personal hygiene play very important role in the Indian food industry. Particularly, I told Indian food industries where our hygiene is very very poor. So that's why what I mean to say, the personal hygiene has to be improved. How can you bring the personal hygiene? First of all, the employees, those who are recruited or those who are allowed to work in the industries, whether they are seasonal workers, whether they are daily workers, or whether they are permanent workers, they needs to be now during the COVID period, they needs to be medically examined, definitely by medically examined. Medical certificate has to be obtained from the registered practitioners, and while entering the factory they should have a thermal screening to see the temperature. Then there must be a provision of wash hands, legs, face, everything at the entry point. They should wear protective clothes, headwears, double layer mask at least, and sanitizer workstation for sanitizers are to be improved in different positions where human contact is more, and they should stand giving a different at least space of 1 meter between each other. If they can maintain this, I don't think the COVID will prevail in food industries. Now, responsibility of food business owner. Now, here brings the responsibility. Now, the food business owner, the first responsibility, I should recommend the food business owner to keep the workers instead of fleeing, instead of going back to their home districts. They should keep the worker. This is the time has come. All the food industries owners, they should put their more efforts. They should look after the safety, not only the well-being of the workers. They should give at least their salary, their dues, so that they can be retained. Once they will be retained, then the growth of the industries during the pandemic situations can be improved. Now, the trained food handlers or worker on the risk factors, safe food handling, social distancing, and other protective behaviors. This has to be made. This is the responsibility of the owners. Keep a COVID screening protocol in place to screen all the personnel entering the food premises. That has to be done by the owners. Encourage all the personnel to self declare and inform about any symptoms of respiratory illness. The biggest problem of our people that they don't inform. If they are suffering from fever, if they are suffering from cold, flu, they will not inform others, so that with the fear. So that's why it is the responsibility of the owner to motivate the personnel working on them, so that they should self declare. Issue protective gears, means clothings, apron, mouth mask, headwears to the employees. Be sensitive to the employees, concerned about salary, leave, and other issues, health and safety issues. Establish a local emergency response team with a dedicated personnel for dealing with suspected cases. So these are the responsibility. Now here, I just wanted to tell, I have already discussed the industries, the manufacturing place. But here, under the Food Safety Standard Act, we have brought the transportation, distributions like wholesaling, marketing, distribution. These are all different functions of channels of marketing. So under this, these different functions are also brought under the ambit of the FSSA Act, and the transporters, every transporter in the country, those who are transporting the food are to be covered under this act. So we are issuing the license to the food transporters so that they will have a valid license, and under that valid license, they will sell the product, they will carry the products, they will carry the raw material, they will carry the finished product to different parts of the country by help of this particular license. Then they have to carry out certain precautions, certain things they have to maintain, like they will have a checklist for their vehicles, how often they clean, what systems they are implementing for cleaning of the vehicles, then what chemicals they are used for cleaning of the vehicles, how often they clean. So like this, the best I just wanted to discuss the best practices during the COVID time, what they have to do it. The transporter category of food business. Sensitize drivers, loaders, and other suspect support staffs about the symptoms of COVID-19 and its prevention. And I think you people might have heard that a lot of drivers got infected due to the by the COVIDs. Recently, it has brought in the news. So that's why the they should be sensitized. The driver, the loader, and other support staff should be sensitized about the symptoms of the COVIDs and how to prevent it, and what precaution they have to take it so that they will not be affected. Now, clean and sanitize delivery of transport vehicle regularly. They should what cleaning systems, what sanitization systems has to be maintained. They should be taught, and they should be doing it at all the times. Ensure that the delivery transport vehicles is used only for food deliveries and distributions. That is the beauty of our country, because along with the trucks, along with the cement, if there is some space, you will find certain cartons of food product are being transported. So in order to stop all these things, we have brought the transported into this category, so that only in that particular truck or in that particular vehicle, only food product will be transported. No non-food items will be transported. That is basic purpose. Now, encourage the drivers, loaders, and other support staff to avoid handling food if they show any symptoms of COVID. Driver, loader, and other support staff should maintain high personal hygiene. They should also taught about the personal hygiene. Wear face mask at all the times. And alcohol-based sanitizers must be always kept in the vehicle cabin. Avoid taking stops in between before the delivery is completed. Clean, disinfect the vehicles before use if it enters in an area marked as a COVID hotspots. So, like these are the simple uh, situations, directions, the practices that we have uh, intimated to our FBO, and it is all these things are available in our websites. I think I have touched almost all the aspects of the food safety issues in this country. So, thank you all. Hello.
Thank you so
Hello.
much. So, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, thank you so much for for this session. It was very informative. We have certain questions. Gerard was handling the questions with the participants on YouTube, so he'll be joining us, and then we can have the question answer round. I'll just inform him to join.
Yes, please.
Yes, 2 minutes, sir. Actually, there is a lag, no, between the live session and the meeting, so just covering that lag.
Okay.
Most of the questions, I think, were more focused on RUCO and oil blending.
Yes,
Also,
yes.
yeah. So I think people from the industry are having doubts regarding the same.
Okay, Ruko. Reuse
Yeah.
cooking oil. You see, if we are allowing the oil to be cooked maximum, every oil, if you are using any oil for frying purposes, it should not be used for more than 3 times. Preferably, under the rule, preferably it should be once. But because of the economic considerations, it can be done up to 3 times, not more than that. But after 3 times, that oil has to be discarded. Now, people, what they are doing it? Some people they are blending with other things. So, in order to uh, do this particular reuse cooking oil for a biodiesel, like you might be, you people might be knowing in Uttarakhand, in Dehradun, there is an institute called that is in Indian it's called, no, no, not forest. That is called Petroleum Research Institute there in
Deep
Dehradun.
They put Petroleum University in there.
Yeah, Petroleum University is there, and they have done a very good work on biodiesels. There is a prototype, and there is commercial. They are developing a commercial pilot, commercial project uh, for the developing of biodiesels. So what we are doing it, we are collecting all the reused cooking oil from different manufacturers, even from different small vendors, and we are sending it to the Dehradun for conversion of uh, cooking oil into the biodiesels. And other state government, other areas also state governments are doing fantastic work on this aspect.
Okay. Okay, sir. So we got a question: how FSSAI is dealing with food licensing and inspection during this COVID situation, and does FSSAI gets involved in the remote assessment of it?
You see, okay. You see, for example, I am myself is the central licensing authority for northern region. Our FSSI is fully functional. We are sitting at home and doing our online business. And in April itself, I have issued more than 100% of licenses, more than 100% of the application I have received in the month of April. Means whatever the application I have received in the month of April and more licenses, including the backlog, I have issued through the online systems. Similarly, all my team members throughout the regional offices like Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, and Guwahati, everybody is issuing their licenses during the COVID. Our import clearance system is functional during the COVID. Okay.
Okay, sir. Is there any special specifications for packaging of food products during this situation, during the COVID-19 situation?
No, there is no specific packaging because all the packages are there. Whatever the package is there. But recently we have banned the plastic. The government of India has banned the use of plastic, reusable plastics. So that's why uh, industry side, what we have done it, because you cannot eliminate the use of plastic throughout the country, because as on date 95% of the Indian package is made of plastics or these related materials, because the canned food has is becoming obsolete in this country because of other issues. So everybody is going to laminates. So you cannot be how to control those. We have given manufacturer responsibility. If they are using the plastic, they should collect it from the consumer point of view, from the retailer point of view, and they recycling plant. So these responsibility we have fixed it to the manufacturer. Like Bisleri, as per my knowledge is concerned, Bisleri and other Coke and Pepsi, because them bottles, PET bottles for their use in their products, and they are doing a fantastic work because with their network, they are collecting those bottles and recycling plant for other recycling purposes. Okay. Now during the particular COVID thing is how effective you are getting a product. The packaging, suppose you are using the packaging material like laminate in the machine itself, so you have to ensure that it is laminate or infected by any sorts of COVID virus species. So for that, you should every manufacturer should ensure receiving that material, they should ensure or they should do better to have the that spray, no, that
Yes,
alcohol
sir.
based spray, they can alcohol based spray, so that it will be evaporate immediately. So that type of simple step they can follow it. Okay.
But sir, how about if the pack made of cardboards or paper boards? So spraying alcohol on it is going to probably ruin it. So
No,
because
it is not. It will not, because nowadays it will not ruin it, because cardboard also it will
Mhm.
not ruin it, because once you spray it, the
Hmm.
immediately it will evaporate it. Alcohol will never
Okay.
stay. But safety measures has to be taken.
Yes.
Once you are spraying it, fellow workers should not light up, or they should not sorts of fire. They should avoid the fire.
Okay. So there is this one question. Are FSSAI done in case of the cut fruits and salads that are sold on carts in open areas? And is there any certification process approved by FSSAI in this case?
You see, recently there is a guidance note. There is a guidance note available in our website. We are we have made a guidance note to control the mandis and the street food vendors. How? Because what we did, we visited all the mandis and all the places. We, through our NGOs, through our training partner, they had their problems, their pros and cons. Then, based on the practices followed and what improvement we can do it, it is available in our guidance note. Best they can do it, how they have to clean it, how they have to cover it, what type of water they have to use it. So, like this, and recently for your information, we are trying up with certain agencies in the country. We are in the bidding process to design the cart, certain amount of grant to those people for designing for designing and creating the cart, food cart. So that we are also going it.
Okay, so there is this another question from Ruko only. One of the participants to know the exact oil blends and the ratios. So,
No,
is
here
there any
Ruko, there is no
regulation?
in Ruko there is no question of blend being used in the that cannot be used for frying for more than 3 times. So once it should be go to the other biodiesel for changing manufacturing of biodiesels. But now
Okay,
blending of oils under our food safety standard system, there is a standard of oils. Every vegetable oil, there is a standards. Now we made blending of we permit of oil. Mean two oils can be blended, but it should be in the ratio of 20:80. Say for an example, somebody is doing mustard oil, blend of mustard oil with sunflower oil. Sunflower oil, refined sunflower oil, because the simple sun without refining it, it cannot be used. Or a refined sunflower oil and mustard oil, if any FBO is doing a manufacturing of these, he should be allowed to do it either 20% of mustard oil and 80% of sunflower oil, or 20% of sun or 80% of mustard oil, in that ratio. It should not be below 20%, or it should not be above 20%. In between 20 to 80%, both can be adjusted. But he should be declare in the label the percentage of oil. Okay.
okay. So probably the last question, and I think it is a question most of the biotechnologists would want an answer to. So, as a food technologist, how will the current economic scenario impact jobs for us in the public and private sector, and how should we prepare for this?
You see, shall I tell you tell you when we have graduated in the year 1987? I passed out from Jadavpur University, BTech Food Technology and Biochemical Engineering. Now, those time there was no job in the food. We have studied this subject, but after completion of 1 year in our university, we are all that what we'll do after study, where we'll go, because there was the industries were very less.